This is a tutorial for anyone using the new ultrasound machine, ED physicians, hospitalists, surgeons. Just shows you how to use this machine. It's a $250,000 machine, so we want to use it properly, turning it off safely, transporting it safely. So it's a 10-minute, 59-second video. Hope you enjoy it. First thing I want to focus on, this standby light is the way it's going to be in the ED. And in order to get out of standby, you need to hit the power button. When you hit the power button, what's going to then happen, that light goes off, and then this screen up here will, in about 5 or 10 seconds, come up with a bar like this, and it'll take a minute and a half to boot up. So you can, when the bar gets to about this point, it's about done, and pretty soon this screen will go black, and then it'll pop up and we're ready to start filming. So there it is. That's turning the machine off. Now, turning the machine on. Now to turn the machine off when you're done with the study, we don't actually turn it all the way off. We go to standby. So you go to this power button, hit the power button. The choice up here, standby, shut down, and cancel. And we always want it to be standby. You move the little mouse to the standby using this trackball down here to move it around. And then you hit the set. Set is your enter button. When we hit set, then it's going now into standby mode, and now it's going to go through this telling you not to unplug. This is going to go all the way across. The screen will go black, and then a little bit second later this will go yellow, and when it gets to that point we know that we're completely there. Okay, so now the screen has gone black and now the standby light is on, so now the machine can be unplugged, but not until that standby light's on. So that's the turning off. So the biggest issue with all the knobs here is you don't need to know that many. This trackball is what you do to move the cursor around. That's one of the most important ones. This 2D one is this knob here. When you rotate it around like this, it makes the screen brighter or darker. And that's all you need to know on that one. This Q scan is your friend. Anytime you get an image, you hit the Q scan button and it makes the image better. So it's like the optimize on our other one. The CDI is color Doppler. When you push down on that, you'll get a color Doppler box. Some of you do, some of you don't. Pulse Doppler you don't need, M mode you don't need. The calipers is a big button for you. If you want to measure something, you hit the caliper, then a little mark comes up, and I'll show you how to do that in a second. This one down here, annotate, is if you want to make a note. So you hit that button and then you pull out this screen or this keyboard, type whatever you want, and it has that for you. And so and then the last thing is these things here. These are the gain or the brightness at depth. Now, Lynn from Ultrasound says leave that in the middle. Don't do this kind of stuff. So just try to leave it as close to that as you can. If you need to clean up something in the deep like a gallbladder, you can certainly do a little bit, but she thinks we do too much of that, moving that around. Use this to make the images brighter and darker. On this, if you want to freeze an image, that you just hit that freeze button and then you can measure and annotate and all that stuff. To put it onto the hard drive, you need to either do a still store, which takes a still image of what's on your screen, or the clip store, which captures from that moment 3 seconds previous. So that's all the things you need to know on this. Okay, so transducers, we have a total of 4 main ones we're going to use. These two are what we call linear probes. This one is the vascular one. It's a little smaller. It's for doing IJs, femoral lines, PICC lines. This one here is a shallower depth, but more for doing things like eyeballs and things that aren't quite as deep. This probe is the cardiac probe. So this will be like during a code. If you want to do that, you would use that one. And this one here is for abdominal stuff, fast scans, doing paracenteses and thoracenteses. So that's the 4 transducers that we need to know about. Okay. We have down here 3 probes that are actually functioning in the machine right now that we can go between without moving them. So what we do to get to that is this is a probe menu. You push this button and it shows you the 3 probes. So the one on the left, the one in the middle, and the one on the right. The one that's live right now is the green one. So now we look down here below. So the one on the left up there was the top one, the middle one, and then the one on the far right was this one. So you can quickly tell which one is which. And those are 3 probes. So if you wanted to switch from, this is the diagram for the fast scan abdominal thoracentesis probe. This is for a vascular one, and this is the cardiac probe, so that's how they all look. So if you wanted, let's say you wanted to switch to the cardiac probe, you simply hit the cardiac probe with your finger, and then to verify you go up here to probe, and there it is. Now the cardiac one is live. So now on the screen is going to be the cardiac probe. So that's how you switch between probes. So let's just say that we wanted to do a probe that's not physically attached. So like right now this one is not attached, but I want to do it. So I'm going to remove one of the probes that's not connected and then replace this one there. So we're going to go down here, and we know that the one on the far right, which is the bottom one, is live, so we don't want to remove this one. So I'm going to remove the top one right now, take that, unscrew it, pull it out, and there's a little slot here that this can go into. It's not the easiest thing in the world. We get that in, lock it in place, and then we're going to take out the other probe that we're going to put in that place, stick it right where the other one was, turn it, and now when we come back up here, this is the probe we just added. And if we want to go live with that, we hit that probe. When you go back to the probe menu, there it is. So that's how we've switched out the probes. So you go and stop. The things is all these cords can get in the way, so there's all these things that we should hang the probe cords on. There's stuff here to hang them on. There's this thing here, and there's one under here. So just make sure that you get all the probes out of the way, because running over them is not going to be very good for it. So, and then the one in the back that's plugged in, we want to get that one rolled up behind here when we move it. Show you how to, if you have an emergent thing and you want to do a sudden scan, how you do it. And the first thing you do after the thing is booted up is you make sure you have the right probe selected. So we're going to do the fast scan with the abdominal probe, so it's that one right there. So we know that's ready to go. And then right here, there's a thing that says preset. So you push preset and it gives you all kind of choices. Abdomen's already selected, but so abdomen's already selected, and you can just grab abdomen 1, for example, and then it's ready to go. So it's ready to start scanning. We don't have a patient ID yet, so in order to get a patient, these two things are our patient button. So we're ready to go, except we don't have a patient identified. This brings up this screen. If it's an emergency and you just want to go, this emergency button here is the one you do. And as you remember, you can move that mouse around with the trackball, and with this trackball, and then to have it enter, you hit the set button. Once the set button does, the mouse automatically goes to the confirm. So because it's emergency, it's put some number in here that will later be identified with this patient. And then to go, you just hit the set button, and you are ready to scan as soon as the screen comes up with that number. So that's if it's a significant emergency. If it's more elective, it's better to push that patient ID button and then to put in this ID column here their medical record number. That will associate it with them, and it doesn't take much longer. You get it there, and then you pull open the screen, you type in the medical record number, whatever it may be. So let's just say that was the medical record number. And then to start, you simply move the little mouse over to that confirm, hit the set button down here on the screen, and you're ready to scan. It's got the patient's medical record number. So that's the way you proceed. You can go ahead and stop. Do a patient is to select this patient button, and if you have entered the order already in PACS, and this is hooked up to PACS through our PACS wall mount, it will populate the patient's name in here, and then you can select the patient. We don't have anybody in here right now, but you could select the patient name and it would go from there. But that's the third way you can get started on a patient. Demonstrate the caliper button. This is the one where you measure stuff. So that's this button here on the left side of the screen. When you hit that, a little plus appears on the screen, and you can move that thing around using the trackball to wherever you want. So let's say you're going to measure something. You've come to one part of it, and then you hit the set button down here, which is the enter button, set. And then you move the trackball again to get to the other part of what you're measuring. Hit the set again, and then on the screen you can see that's the distance you measured, and it tells you down here what that distance is. If you want to measure something else, you can, in another dimension, you can do that like that. Hit the set. I'm sorry, I made a small error there, but hit the set, go to another spot, hit set again, and it'll tell you your measurement, the C measurement. So you can measure multiple things like that. If you want to label what you did, you can hit this annotate button right here, and I can hit that, and then you just type whatever word you want, gallbladder or whatever, and then hit set, and that'll be part of the report. Now, in order to capture that still image, you come over here to this button here, which is the still capture. When you hit still capture, it now captured that image on the drive, and now it's saved. You don't have to do anything else. If you want to catch a video clip of something, you hit the clip store, and again, that captures from that moment 3 seconds earlier. And so that's all you need to know about that. Sending the picture to these images to PACS, it's going to be too hard for us to do. So we're going to let the diagnostic imaging people figure out, once we put the orders in, how these images get from here on to PACS. So the last thing I'm going to do is talk about cleaning of the probes. This is the cleaning of the probes. A towel and these green peroxide wipes, not alcohol wipes, not the orange wipes. These are your two. So as soon as you're done with the probe, you take the probe and you wipe off all the goop, and then you get one of these lovely green swabs that are generally bunched up like, you take one of these and wipe off and wipe all the way down the cord, because that may have been on the patient, and that's the cleaning of it. So that's it.
Breaking and everybody shaking and we're staying alive, staying alive. Ha!